Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a deep dive into a pretty iconic car. We're going to be talking about the BMW 3 Series.
The 3 Series, yep.
You know, you've given me so much material to work with here. We've got information on, like, all 7 generations going all the way back to the 70s.
Oh, yeah.
Current models, specs, you know, all the stuff that makes a car, and what the experts are saying, safety ratings, all this really good stuff. And we even have some stuff on its rivals, like the main competitors.
Yeah.
So basically, our mission here today is to give our listeners a clear view of what this car is all about. Why is this such a globally recognized nameplate? Why is it such a big deal? Why is it a player in the compact executive segment? You know, just giving our listeners the shortcut to being in the know. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that, you know, takes hours and hours to research, but we're going to break it all down.
Absolutely. And, you know, just glancing at all this, I think one of the big things that stands out to me with the 3 Series is just BMW's commitment to balancing that sporty DNA. You know, they've always had that image, but they've also been really good at adapting to the changing times, to what drivers are actually looking for, not just in performance, but also in terms of features, technology, and fuel economy.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like they've struck that balance. But, okay, let's go back to the very beginning. Take us back to 1975. The E21, that was the first 3 Series, right? Succeeding the 2002. What was the big deal about this first model?
Well, the E21 really laid the groundwork for everything that came after. I mean, it established that core formula, compact, engaging to drive, a real driver's car. And even back then, with those early models like the 316 and the 320, you could see BMW was starting to offer some choices, catering to different needs.
Okay.
Yeah, like, you know, different engine options.
Yeah.
And of course, you can't forget about that driver-angled dashboard. That was a really innovative design at the time, and it really sent a message about what this car was all about. The driver
focused.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so then we get into the 80s. And this is where things get, you know, legendary for a lot of people. The E30 generation. I mean, this is the one that everybody thinks of, right?
There are a lot of people, yeah.
And this is where we get all the body styles. You've got the 2-door, the 4-door, the convertible, and even the touring, which was the wagon, right?
That's right, the wagon.
And, of course, you can't forget about the very first M3.
Oh, the M3, that's when things got really serious. You know, the E30, it wasn't just about offering more choices, it was about doing it smartly. The 2-door appealed to a younger, sportier audience, while the touring brought in folks who needed practicality but didn't want to sacrifice that BMW driving experience.
Right.
And the M3, well, that just took performance to a whole new level.
Okay, so the 3 Series starts branching out a little bit.
That's right, branching out.
Okay, so then we move into the 90s, and we get the E36 generation. Even more refinement, a really, really unique-looking coupe.
Yeah.
You know, they really went for it with the styling on that one.
Right, yeah, it had its own distinct look.
Yeah, it had its own thing going on. The wagon continued with the E36, and there was even a compact version, which is kind of a hatchback.
Right.
And the M3 got a 6-speed manual transmission for the first time.
Oh, yeah, that was a big deal.
It was a huge deal, yeah.
It's a big deal. The E36 was all about refining what they had already established. They focused on comfort, safety. That longer front end was all about improving crash protection. They really matured the lineup. And that first 4-cylinder diesel engine that showed they were serious about appealing to the European market.
Yeah, diesel was huge in Europe. So then we jump ahead to the late 90s, early...
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The E46, that was a big step forward in terms of tech. They brought back all-wheel drive, which was a huge plus for a lot of people. And they really started to differentiate the styling for each body type, giving them their own unique character.
Yeah.
Plus, you had that Valvetronic engine in the compact, which was all about improving fuel efficiency.
Yeah. All right, then we get to the mid-2000s E90 generation. Now, this is when things got a little... controversial.
Oh, yeah, the Bangalized styling, right?
Yeah. It was definitely distinctive, a bold design, that's for sure. But it also brought some important innovations. iDrive.
Right.
That was a big deal, even though not everyone loved it at first. And run flat tires. They were standard on the E90, right?
That's right. Run flats were a pretty big deal at the time. You know, they were a safety feature.
Yeah.
And I think iDrive, despite the initial mixed reactions, it really did become the standard for in-car infotainment systems.
Yeah, definitely set the trend. Okay, so then we get into the 2010s F30 generation. Turbocharged engines across the board for the sedan.
Huh.
And they split off the coupe and convertible into the 4 Series, which was a pretty big shift, right?
Oh, it was a big deal. Going all turbo for the F-30 was about making the cars more powerful and more efficient, which was, really important in that era. And by separating the 4 Series, they could focus more on the sporty aspects of those cars.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. And it gave them more room to, play around with the styling and the features.
And then we get to the current generation, the G20. This is the tech fest.
Oh, yeah, the G20 is loaded with tech. I mean, you've got that huge curved display, a full digital instrument cluster, all sorts of driver assistance systems. They really went all in on the tech with this one. And of course, you've got the long wheelbase versions for markets like China and India, where rear passenger space is really important.
So like they're really tailoring to the markets with this generation.
Oh, yeah. You have to, if you want to be successful globally.
Okay, so let's talk global presence for a second. The sedan is obviously available pretty much everywhere, Europe, North America, India, you name it. The touring, the wagon, that seems to be mostly a European thing.
Right. The wagon is big in Europe, not so much in other markets.
Okay, makes sense. Now, under the hood, you've got a whole range of engines. 4 cylinders, 6 cylinders, turbocharged, plug-in hybrids, a lot of choices there.
Oh, yeah. There's an engine for everyone. And the power outputs vary depending on the model and the market.
Yeah, and of course, you have to think about the fuel economy standards
Yeah.
like the, WLTP and EPA.
Right, those are the big ones.
So design-wise, the long hood, that's a classic BMW thing. And the Hofmeister kink, which is that little bend at the back of the rear window.
Yep.
That's a BMW signature. The current G20, it's got a much more, aggressive front end.
Yeah, they've definitely sharpened up the styling.
It's much more in your face.
Yeah.
And the interior is very driver-focused.
Oh, yeah. It's all about the driver.
High-quality materials.
Yeah. They use really nice materials.
And that huge curved display, it's impressive.
It's very impressive.
And there are tons of ways to personalize the car, too. Different paint colors, upholstery, wheels.
Yeah, you can really make it your own.
Performance parts,
Yeah.
if you want to go that route. Now, expert reviews seem to be pretty positive for the G20. People are really praising the performance and handling.
Which makes sense. That's what BMW is known for.
Yeah.
They've always been about the driving experience.
The ride comfort is also getting good marks, especially with the optional adaptive suspension.
Right. The adaptive suspension makes a big difference.
And the tech is, well, for the most part, people like the tech. There's some debate about having to use the touch screen for the climate controls.
Oh, yeah, there's always going to be debate about that sort of thing.
I guess some people just prefer physical buttons.
Yeah, some people like the tactile feel of buttons.
But overall, it seems to be a top contender in its segment. Although, like with any BMW, the cost of options can add up quickly.
Oh, yeah. Those options can get expensive. All right, now you can't talk about the 3 Series without talking about the competition.
Right. So who are the main rivals here?
Well, the big two are the Mercedes C-Class and the Audi A4.
Okay.
The C-Class is more about luxury and comfort, while the A4 is known for its interior design and tech features.
Okay.
But you've also got some other players in the game, the Genesis G70. There's
Yeah.
some really good value for the money. The Lexus IS, it's got that Japanese reliability. The Alfa Romeo Giulia, that's the stylish one. And the Volvo S60, that's all about safety.
Okay, so a lot of really good cars in this segment. It's a competitive space.
Oh, yeah, it's very competitive.
All right, so how about safety? How does the 3 Series stack up?
It does very well. It consistently gets top ratings from both Euro NCTAP and the IIHS here in the U.S.
Okay, that's reassuring.
Yeah, it's a very safe car.
Mm.
Lots of airbags, all the latest driver assistance systems. It's got everything you need to stay safe on the road.
Okay, good to know. Now, finally, let's talk about market insights. Pricing and trim levels. They seem to vary quite a bit depending on where you are in the world.
Oh, yeah, they definitely do. In Europe, you see a lot more diesel and plug-in hybrid options because of the fuel prices and the emissions regulations.
Okay.
And in India, they sell that long wheelbase version like we talked about.
Right, because they want that extra spec in the back.
Exactly.
So yeah, it seems like BMW is really trying to tailor the 3 Series to the specific needs of each market.
They are. They have to if they want to stay on top.
Okay, so to wrap things up, it seems like the BMW 3 Series is all about evolution. It's been constantly evolving over 7 generations, but always being true to its core values.
Absolutely. Sportiness, luxury, technology. They've managed to blend all of those things together in a really compelling package.
Yeah, they really have. So here's a final thought for our listeners. We're moving towards an electric future.
We are. Electric cars are becoming more and more popular.
So how do you think the 3 Series will adapt to that?
Yeah.
It's always been about performance and practicality.
Right. It's going to be interesting to see how they manage that transition. I mean, they've already got some plug-in hybrids,
Yeah.
but a fully electric 3 Series, that's going to be a whole new challenge. You're going to have to figure out how to make it fun to drive, but also practical and affordable.
Yeah. How do they maintain that core identity?
That's the key question. It'll be fascinating to see what they come up with.
Definitely. It's something to ponder.
Mm.
But for now, that's going to do it for this deep dive into the BMW 3 Series.
Yeah, I think we covered it all.
Until next time.
Until next time.